I remember when we came home, we came into our house, me and my mother and the 2 kids. People were living there already in those 2 days, or 3 days, maybe. People were living in our house. I recognized the people, I knew the people, they were neighbors. And I asked them, what are you doing here? It's our house, what are you doing here? And they started yelling at us, get out, it's not your house anymore. And my mother was standing there and crying, and the 2 kids were crying, and I had to be the strong one. But I said, how can you tell us it's not our house? You know it's our house. Everything here is ours. You Jews have nothing anymore. Nothing belongs to you anymore. And get out before we call the Gestapo. Okay. As soon as we heard the SS or Gestapo, this was enough for us. We decided we're going to leave. But I said, give us something what belongs, some clothing, some food. They said, no, we're not going to give you nothing. Nothing belongs to you anymore. It was raining, and I was wearing our big men's raincoat. So I took my little brother under my raincoat, and I tried to hide him. When a Nazi came over, they checked everyone, row by row, excuse me. And he says to me, what do you have there? I said, nothing special, clothes. Of course, this was stupid. He didn't believe me. He opened the coat, and there was my little brother standing and shaking and crying. He hit me across my face so hard that right away my mouth and my nose started bleeding. How come I told him a lie? How come I told him a lie? This monster, I told him a lie. I wanted to save my little brother. I didn't answer him. He kept on beating me. He took my little brother for his collar, for his ear, for his neck. And he carried him like this, like a sack of potatoes, like this. He carried him. And he threw him on the truck between the rest of the kids, between the old people. I never saw him again. One girl came over to me. She says, come on, I'll explain you. It seems to me you don't know where you came. Come, I'll tell you. She took me over to our bunk beds. We sat down, and she told me all about. She says, listen, I'll show you where your mother and sister are. But the first thing I want to know is where you should know where you came. You came to the end of the road. This is Auschwitz. Nobody survives here. Now come, I'll show you where your mother and sister. She took me to our window, and she showed me 2 brick buildings. From this barrack 25, you could see 2 crematoriums, 2 gas chambers, number 1 and number 2. Auschwitz had 5, but I could see only from this building 2 of them. And she shows me one of the buildings. I said, that looks like a factory. Big, brown, big brick building with, she says, but you look at it and you see the big chimney with the smoke? I said, yes. She said, remember, this is your mother and your sister, the smoke. I said, what do you mean? Come, sit down. I'll explain you everything. She explained to me, all right. And she says, now, stop crying. They are better off than you are. Their troubles are finished. For you, it's still waiting. Today or tomorrow, you'll wind up the same thing over there. Because this is the end of the road. I had a very close girlfriend, but we came together from Estonia, you know. Her name was Bella. She got very sick. I dragged her to work to the factory in Auschwitz there for 3 days, 4 days, back and forth, back and forth. But it came to a point I couldn't do it anymore because I couldn't leave her on the bed, on the bunk beds, in the barracks. In the morning, everybody had to get out, go to work, or go to the gas chamber, one or the other. So I used to drag her to work. But one morning, early morning, I got up. When the bell rang, must have been, they used to wake us up like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. She was dead next to me. She was dead. I felt bad. She was my closest friend. But in the same moment, I remember that she didn't eat her bread. For 4 or 5 days, she was sick and she couldn't eat. So she kept it. She kept it in a little sack, dragged back and forth to work. And then I said to myself, oh, they'll take her away and they'll take away the bread. So I took the bread and I said to her, I talked to her. I said, please forgive me, but you don't need the bread anymore. I'm going to eat your bread because I have to survive and I have to tell the world what happened to you.